Welcome everyone to our 25th Fireside Chat. I'm Tim Hollick, and with me as always is my good friend Joe Zinni.
Hey Tim, how are you?
Good, how are you today?
I'm doing good considering everything.
Almost the 4th of July.
It's almost the 4th of July, it's like that. Hey, do you realize as of Sunday, 6 months of the year is gone?
I know, can you imagine?
No.
I just wrote a newsletter for July, and I didn't do a kitchen story. I just, talked about July being the birth of a nation, and I just said, can you believe it's July already?
Time is good.
Where is it gone this year?
Yeah, it flew by, it did.
Yeah.
Because I do that, the end of January, 12th of the year's over. Now all of a sudden half of it's over.
Yeah, what we didn't do in the first half, we're gonna make up in the second half, because it's gotta be made up somewhere, right?
Yeah, it's a good thing we're good guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So, how's that? I'm going to segue right into what we're going to talk about. Consequences for your actions.
This is always a good one.
It's a great one because, they talk about for every action is a reaction. Well, for all your actions, there's consequences.
That's right.
And you really need to think about that when you're looking at life. That when you're making decisions or you're going to go do something, there's a consequence to that.
Yeah, because if you haven't really thought it out or don't know enough yet in life, and that's really where most of it happens, is the fact that they don't know enough yet.
Yeah, it's
especially younger people.
Right.
We went through it.
Of course we did.
We all went through it. I decided at the age of 21 to start a business.
Brilliant!
I got taught very quickly, just because I knew how to do woodworking doesn't mean I can own a business, but the stubbornness of me has kept it up over the years, and to make sure I make up for it. But it's, as much good things in being in business for 40 years, there's a lot of bad things too that hit you, but I always looked at them as learning stepping stones
Absolutely.
to the next level. And I think we all need to see that. Like sometimes we talk about our kids and sometimes they don't make the right decision, but again, it comes down to the learning experience we get from it all.
Yeah. Because even when someone else is making, a bad decision around us, it is going to affect us. So there's the consequences on our end. Be it, our children, our home, our family, business, employees, vendors, customers. There's consequences to everything. And when you're looking at it, obviously you're trying to project the best consequence possible. So let's talk about that a little bit. If you're going to try and get the best consequence possible, what is it that you want to do first?
I always separate myself from the emotions. I try to look at the facts, but unfortunately as younger kids, when our kids start, emotions are more the case.
Yeah.
And we make those decisions more and more. So I try to push emotions aside and look at facts, and try to move forward with my decisions by those facts. But I think I do something that a lot of people don't do. I play it off in my mind. Okay, if I make this decision, what could possibly happen? So see what I'm doing? I'm thinking it through.
You're looking at the scenarios.
You can't always make the right decision. Decisions are there.
Right.
But I like the fact that, like you said, there's consequences. I remember when Gina grew up, and she wanted to go to the mall with a friend that just got her license. I said, well, look at the scenario. I mean, it's going to be a stormy night. Right. That person doesn't know how to drive.
Correct.
You could get there safe. You could get there, we got in an accident. You got there, we got hurt in an accident. And worse, before you get there, you get killed in an accident.
Right.
So, as an adult, Gina, this is what I think of before I do it.
Sure.
When we got into a car with people, we didn't think of that stuff as kids either.
No, but as the scenarios would play out, be it we were in a car during a snowstorm, and maybe we weren't even in an accident, but we saw one, or we were in a car accident, it wasn't even our fault, it was somebody else. I mean, you're looking at your risk factor, I think, when you're weighing out consequences. I think risk factor becomes a big part of that. We just talked about that as a business thing, we just talked about it as a personal thing. But your risk factor is one thing you've got to analyze.
Yeah, because, you never know what can happen. You can make all the right decisions,
Sure.
something hits.
Yep, exactly.
And that's the type of things, again, if you just separate the emotions and go forward with some facts, you'll make better decisions. They might not be exactly right, but you make better decisions and maybe minimize things that could go wrong.
Well, your percentages go up the more you think about it.
I agree.
The more you look at the scenarios, the more you look at the risk factor, the more you look at the consequences come about. I think your percentages go up because you're planning. You're a planner.
Right.
You've always had been.
I have.
So you're looking at keeping the consequences more on the positive side. But the problem is that sometimes we run into a situation where the consequences aren't so good, that some bad circumstances come about because the consequences didn't come out. How do you, try to avoid the bad, consequence, or even once a bad consequence has come about, how do you fix that?
Well, again, it comes down to understanding what went on. Consequence could be something unfair to you. It could be fair to you. It could be where it was supposed to go that way because of the decision you made. But like anything, you need to carry it through.
Sure.
So it just matters on the situation, how bad it is, and do you need help with it? You don't need help with it. I try never to go for help first.
Right.
But if I need help, I have to ask. You have to ask, and it's always your last scenario. When I got in trouble here at Wood Palace in the early 90s from a bookkeeper, and I wasn't paying attention to this person, and she was doing things she shouldn't have been doing, or not paying things she should have been paying, and shame on me as a business owner not
Sure, it comes down on you.
watching. Exactly.
It does.
I could have easily called my mother knowing that she owns a house and said, I need some money, Mark, and you remortgage your house. But I didn't.
No.
That would have been the last case scenario.
Mhm.
And I still got through it.
Yeah.
And it was funny when I finally told my mother way after it happened. She said, well, you could have called me. No, I wouldn't have done that to you. So, live the consequence, because that's part of the decision making that are going to teach you more in your life. And try to get through it. Try to figure out what you need to do to make up. You could have made a decision that hurt somebody.
Right.
And I don't mean hurt somebody physically, but hurt somebody in some way.
Right.
I can make a bad decision in a business decision. And my first thought, and my people know it here, what can we do to make this better without hurting the client?
Correct.
Don't give the client less. Make sure that they get what they need.
Correct.
Don't make that decision because that hurts them. So let's figure out what we can do, whether it costs us money or not first. And then if it becomes too much of a problem and too much of a time waster and making somebody's project go longer, then you give people the options and say, okay, we can do this and make up most of it for that. And you give the client the chance to make that decision, because you don't want them to feel that you're pushing something upon them. So believe me, there's a lot of things you make decisions on that doesn't always go well. I can plan a job, it doesn't always go well. I thought it would go this way, but it didn't. I thought I could build it that way, but it didn't. So take responsibility and try to get through it.
Right. Being ignorant of it, that's not going to solve anything. And like you said, ask for help. If it gets to a point, ask for help. And I'm not saying immediately run out and make another poor decision. Think it through, get decisions from other people, get other people's input. You're talking about knowledge and experience. Go to somebody that has more knowledge and more experience.
That's a great thought.
You then come back to your situation. Now you're going to be able to fix it without creating more poor decisions or bad consequences.
That's right, because other people, that's right. It's funny when you just said that, I should have mentioned that earlier, is sometimes when I really don't know what to do, I ask other people that might have some experience in it. Or, if it's a bad, making something work on a job construction-wise, you call people that might know more and help you out. But help has to be there sometimes.
Yeah, you help yourself first and then ask for help. So, in that scenario, you're now the guy with the knowledge and experience. Folks come to you and say, Tim, I run into this situation, it ended up bad. What do you think I should do? Or what experience can you share with me so that I can get out of this and not do it again?
Well, the old Tim used to give them answers, but the new Tim knows that that's always what you do for people. So I ask them questions.
Sure.
I ask them a bunch of questions to get through it. So most of the time with the questions that I ask, they get through it themselves.
Yeah.
They figure it out themselves. And that's really what you want to do to build people. What is the saying? Feed a man for, feed a man a fish, you feed him for a day.
Teach him
how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. It's the same thing with that. I want to give my knowledge, but I want them to test their mind first. And if at the end they can't figure it out, then you give them suggestions. Never tell people exactly what to do, but give them suggestions if you have to. But really try to get them through it, because as you're doing that, you're building them for their future.
And yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when you teach, it's a learning experience.
It sure is. You know, and coaching, you know, is not easy at first. It's newer to me. So the new Tim asked a bunch of questions.
And it, you know, it makes a ton of sense, because obviously one of the people you talk about a lot is Eddie Denton, your godfather, and Eddie was a bright enough guy not to sit here and go, Tim, you need to do this. Tim, what is it you think you need to do, and walk you through it so that you learn from what I would consider a master. I mean, it was not only was he a bright guy, but he's very approachable and he was caring.
He was. He wanted to help people.
He did.
You know, he always had that way about him.
He did.
And but I relied on Eddie for a lot of stuff back then to help me through my next stages of business, to help me understand things better with management, people even better. I've always had a good grasp on personality, but learned even more. You know, you always learn each day, and consequences teach us. So sometimes consequences are there for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
I think that, you know, we just talked about, I think, some lessons got learned, you know, not only by my daughter, me, and all the people that surrounding that. You know, sometimes it takes a difficult consequence for lights to turn on, doors to open, windows to fly open, and life to change a little bit, and you can look at things in a different light. You know, consequences, even a bad consequence, is not necessarily all bad. If you're going to learn from it, you know, learn from it, take it all in, and then in exchange do what you do, present it back out, use your experience to teach somebody. That's a big positive.
Oh, it is, because, you know, it's like dealing with an angry customer. You've learned in the past what to do and what not to do, but it doesn't mean the next time you do something that worked out first time doesn't work the second time. That's life. That's how we build ourselves. That's how we become stronger, smarter. You know, that's why one of my favorite sayings is the more we know that we don't know.
Correct, and you're right.
Because our mind is expanding, and we start to see there's a lot more in the universe that we need to know, but before it was only a small thing we thought. But there's a lot more. In each level you grow to the next levels, and then you get another level. People say, well, when do you stop? You never stop. You never stop learning.
No.
We're 60 years old and we're still learning.
I hope to keep learning, because the day you stop learning, consequences are for that, and you're not gonna learn anymore.
It's true. It's so true.
This is a subject that I really think that we're going to tackle next, number 26. It's your outlook and how to touch your outcome. And it's something you and I talk about
That's
all the
a
time.
great one.
You talk about it all the time. Your outlook will influence how everything will come out.
It's so true. You have to keep your mind focused.
You do.
You know, and I've been talking about that lately in my post and telling people, coaching people. And, you know, you have to set things in your mind. It's going to be a fun subject.
I think it's going to too. Tim, it was wonderful. I hope you people enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one.